So have you seen then the latest ridiculousness? I've only been on holiday for a week. I mean, where do you even begin? So many stories that we could have covered tonight. But did you see the pictures, the imagery of the Labour headquarters? A group of youth, so they call themselves, have gone along with red paint and daubed all over the Labour Party headquarters. They're from a group called Youth Demand, and of course you'll be familiar with the fact what perhaps it's all about, but they want an arms embargo now. They want the UK weapons to stop being sold to Israel. I mean, there's so much I want to get into on this. Where this weird obsession has come from about daubing things with paint because you're in a mood. It's the kind of thing my 3-year-old child would do. Chuck paint at something because he's angry. What's going on, do you think?
It's self-righteousness. It's people who think that they're so good that the only thing they can do is let everybody else know how good they are. I'm really good, I think this. And you should think it too. And to show how good I am, I'm going to go and spray some paint on something. That's all it is. Tom Lehrer, the great satirical singer, wrote a song about this many years ago called The Folk Song Army. We are the Folk Song Army. Every one of us cares. We're against poverty, war and injustice, unlike the rest of you squares. And basically it is a declaration by people that they are better than us. And they think that. They don't know anything. And I remember being myself on the protesting left many, many years ago. I didn't know anything, and I didn't do that. I did various other foolish things, but that's what they do. And there isn't really very much else to say about it.
Well, we'll come on to their messaging, and I'll come on to in a second what it is that they're calling for. But, of course, this has all been triggered by the situation in Gaza with Israel, etc. Where are you on this? Let's think about the protesting methods at the first point.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Last week I saw somebody on GBNews, a Just Stop Oil person, saying, well, if we didn't do things like this, we wouldn't get publicity.
It's very true.
And what do we have? They daub the Labour Party in paint, and we're talking about them. I mean, would we be talking about them otherwise? And that's what they... I mean, I do agree with Peter. I mean, it's a way to get publicity. I don't think it's a way to persuade people. And it's incredibly boring, and it's just going to go on and on and on with whatever people feel like doing. But, yeah, I mean, it's the problem is it works.
Yeah, and I mean, regular viewers to this programme, you will know that I have quite a preference that we try not to give moronic acts such as this the oxygen of publicity, because you're quite right, they do it because they want to be talked about. But I just thought this whole notion, because the situation with Israel and Gaza, we've had so many things now being interfered with. So, of course, we saw the situation in Parliament when it came to who should vote and how they should vote, and democracy being tampered with because of that issue. You've got all the protests on the streets, all the rest of it. This is an issue that people really... In fact, I'll turn to you on this, because you said when I was protesting, when I was a bit younger, I didn't know much, and you saying that these people don't know much. But actually,
a lot younger, actually.
These people would push back and say that what they feel is very passionate. They're seeing the situation in Gaza. They want the killing there to stop, and they feel very passionate about that.
Well, what do they think the rest of us think? There's many, many people, including me, who are greatly distressed by what's going on in Gaza, but I don't see any future in painting, in spray painting the headquarters of a political party. And it doesn't actually achieve anything. This is all about the people who are doing it. I do think that if people are convicted for this sort of crime, then an awful lot of effort should be taken in making sure that they do something fitting. That is to say, they should be made to clean it up themselves.
Certainly, of course.
And they could find out how long it takes to clean it up. And so in some cases, they might understand the distress that they've caused to other people by doing it. There was a great novel by the clever novelist Simon Raven, in which a protester in the 60s destroyed a Cambridge College lawn. And the provost of the college was mostly distressed about the terrible state into which this put the gardener, who'd spent decades getting this lawn perfect and was in tears to see his work. Now, obviously, the Labour Party headquarters isn't a beautiful Cambridge lawn, but a lot of people go through into that building. They care about it.
I mean, sorry to interrupt, Peter, but I'm looking...
We should make people who do this kind of thing, once they're convicted, instead of fining them or binding them over or whatever we do, we should actually say, no, clean it up. Find out how long it takes to clean up. And the same, I have to say, should be done to the people who spray paint my train.
As Peter is talking, and that's why I'm trying to rudely interrupt, because I'm just showing you on the screen, if you're watching telly, just so you can actually see. If that was my son, and I mean, he's kind of proudly waving his fire extinguisher around, I think he'd look a bit of a pillock. I wouldn't be happy when my kid got home. But the response there, Charlotte, what they're saying... Charlotte? Who's Charlotte? You can tell I've been on holiday. Scarlett, sorry. What they're saying... I know, I'm back. I didn't have much sleep. My flight was delayed because of that storm last night, in my defence. Anyway, one of these protesters is saying, and this is a direct quote, there's never been a safer time for Labour to be bold. Instead, they are behaving like the biggest cowards imaginable. Do you think that Labour are being cowardly on this issue?
No. I think they could be bolder. I think to call them cowardly when actually they're saying we want to see the evidence, we want to see whether it's legal or not to sell arms. I mean, what they're trying to be actually is grown up. They're trying to show that they can run a government rather than be a party of protest. I mean, it's quite important that they come from the Jeremy Corbyn era to the Keir Starmer era, from the protest era to the government era. I don't think they're being cowardly. I don't always agree with them, and on this one, I don't. I mean, I think that you don't have to know the legal advice to have seen what's going on.
So what do you think they should do then? Because you said they could be bolder. How?
Well, I think that they should call for an arms embargo. I just think they should say we can't go on selling arms to an army that is behaving like this, that clearly targeted three cars with aid workers in it last week. And I mean, what's interesting is I saw an interview with a former Israeli soldier from Breaking the Silence. This is an Israeli group of former soldiers who actually talk about what it's really like. And he said, when I was in the army, we were told, if in doubt, don't shoot. That's now changed. If in doubt, shoot. And he said that's the problem. And you know, we know that well over 30,000 people have been killed, and a lot of them are women and children.
Well, Labour has got itself into a considerable mess because Keir Starmer has done a lot of authority grabbing by this supposed attack on the anti-Semitism of the Corbynites. And this has endeared him to some parts of the Labour Party who are more pro-Israel than others. If he now departs from that, he'll lose them. He'll have an open split. On the other hand, he has an awful lot of members now who are Muslims or who are highly sympathetic to the Arab cause, who really do think that the moment has come to speak out. It's very, very difficult to decide what to do, but then if you don't want difficult decisions, don't be in politics. And he is, I think, he is shirking it. I'm not advising him which decision he should take. I have my own views on it, which are mine, and I wouldn't dream of voting for the Labour Party. But he really does need to demonstrate, if he wants to be Prime Minister, that he has the capacity to choose between two positions, even if doing so makes him unpopular with one side. And I think he does lack the bottle to do that, and I think it's increasingly evident that he's just simply trying to avoid it.
Is he? Does he like that bottle?
No, what he's saying is, I want to see the evidence. I want to see... He's a lawyer, right? I want to see if the legal opinion is that we shouldn't be selling arms because it's illegal. That's what he's saying. I think that you can make a decision without knowing that. But I do understand that he's saying, I want to see the evidence.
Scarlett, it's all... They're not sitting around in the Knesset in Jerusalem saying, what does Keir Starmer think about what we should do?
No, Peter,
what the
I'm
Labour
not
Party
saying that.
says isn't going to make any difference to what happens. It's going to make a difference to the Labour Party. And it's not very difficult to work out whether you're in favour of bombarding Gaza or not. I am a supporter of Israel for almost as long as I can remember, against all kinds of stupid criticism, but I think the bombardment of Gaza is both crazy and wrong. I find no difficulty in saying so, whatever, and I don't see how anybody actually, regarding what's going on, can say anything else. Keir Starmer won't say this because he has other political liabilities, which he's piled up in the course of becoming and remaining leader of the Labour Party. He's afraid to do it. He won't take a decision. And this is a very good idea. It gives us all a very good indication of what sort of Prime Minister he would be if he became Prime Minister. Not a very good one.
Is he a bottler?
No, he's not. He's not a bottler. He's trying to make a serious decision. No, the Knesset really don't care what I'm not saying that.
So what's he
but
waiting
it's very,
for? So
it's
what's
very,
he waiting for?
Because it's very important that Labour stops being a party of protest. That's how he sees it. That's how he sees the decision, and the decision he sees as a lawyer, he sees is a legal one. I happen to disagree with him. I happen to agree with you. Is that on October the 7th, I said what's going to happen is they're going to kill thousands of Palestinians and Hamas will have won, because that's what Hamas always wanted. It was mad. We can go back to that. What Keir is trying to do is he's trying to be more measured about it.
Well, that's as may be, but the truth is that the Labour Party is, in fact, a party of protest and has its roots in all kinds of protest and resistance. It's not an establishment party, and if you want to lead it, you have to learn how to deal with the fact that large numbers of people will have radical opinions on this and many other subjects. And you have to decide which opinion you take. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm waiting for the evidence. What is the evidence he's actually waiting for here?
Well, he's made it clear. He wants to know what the legal opinion is of whether it is legal or not.
He knows that they're not going to tell him.
He doesn't.
He says that because he'd be devastated if the government came out and said, OK, Keir, here's our opinion, because that would leave him completely naked. He'd then have to make a decision. As long as he can hide behind the government's own secrecy, he's safe.
I really mind you telling me what the Labour Party is.
Why?
When you're not a member,
I was.
You don't even vote.
I was for some years.
You were for some years.
And I know what goes on in it.
It is not a party of protest, as you know, as you have written many times about a Labour government. The Blair government was not a government of protest, right? It was a government. Keir wants to run a government, right? But I think it's very simple what he's looking for, and the question is whether one needs to wait for it or not. And I feel that one doesn't.
And how long do you think he'd be willing to wait then? 6 months for this evidence to be presented?
He wants it now. I mean, that's what he keeps saying. That's what he keeps saying. We need. The government has the evidence. We want it now.
Well, I say if his phone rings tonight and it's Downing Street saying, Keir, we're giving you the government decision, he'll be absolutely mortified.
Do you think he would be? You guys at home,
doesn't
your
want them.
thoughts? Do you think that Keir Starmer is a bottler? Do you think he's using this request for the detail as a way of creating his own position so that he's got confidence in it, or as a way of just biding time and desperately hoping to avoid requiring to be made